What's up, guys? I'm stoked to tell you the Casually Ambitious Performance Club is coming. Officially launching in January of 2024, we are currently accepting new athletes who want to run far and lift heavy. This program is ideal for anybody who wants to get faster while training for a half, marathon, or ultra distance and not look like a string bean while doing it. This hybrid training style is demanding but incredibly rewarding. Beyond the fitness side, the program also offers a complete dieting plan along with mindset modules each week to keep you mentally sharp. If interested, shoot me a message on Instagram or sign up for the email newsletter in my bio for updates. I will see you guys there. This episode is brought to you by my go-to meal prep company, Flex Pro Meals. I love Flex Pro because it tastes great, first and foremost, but also the ordering page makes it easy and has all the macro and nutritional info listed out for you for every single meal. There are 35 macro balanced options starting at just $4.19, and they have next day delivery to all 50 US states. High protein, low carb, keto, gluten-free, you name it, they got it. You can use code CPRICE for 40% off your first order for a limited time. That's 40%. That's huge. So check them out, Flex Pro Meals. Welcome visionaries, dreamers, and trailblazers to the Casually Ambitious podcast. I'm your host, Chase Price, and I am thrilled to embark on this journey with you. Here, we dive deep into the realms of wellness, entrepreneurship, and mindset. Let's build a life we love while loving the life we live. The adventure to a more mindful, purposeful, and casually ambitious life starts now.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling. We're just going to go straight into it.
I like that. Yeah. That's what I think. I think that's what success is at its core. It's the ability to express your individual creativity. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of the things that, society has deemed successful are most things external, like, the car you drive or, the family you have, and all those things are great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think the external results are, the result of like hard work, mm-hmm. and persistence or having a plan. Yet when it comes to like what's internal, it's just like, did you execute on what you wanted to do? Did the vision come, because only you have the vision, so I remember sitting with you that day and you laid it all out. And so to see you go in this direction, man, big ups to you, bro. Like,
well, thank you, man.
Yeah, of course, man.
Thank you. And just to run it back a little bit, we had a conversation, I guess, 2-3 months ago now. Yeah, for sure. I wish we would have recorded that one because it was actually pretty damn good.
Bro, that was a good one, man. That was a good one.
But that just let me know we needed to run it back and have an actual sit down.
Of course.
So tell me a little bit about you, man. How long have you been in Charlotte for? In general, mm-hmm. And then is Charlotte kind of the long-term plan for you? You obviously set up shop here and you got good things going on. So what's your plan?
Man, I've moved from New York to Charlotte 2012, September 2012. So it just reached 11 years. 11 years. I love Charlotte. Mm-hmm. I love Charlotte. So for me, originally, I came down through banking. I was in the banking industry. I went to school for international business and finance. I can speak on it now. At that time, I didn't feel this way, but like it was more of just like doing things based on, hey, how much money can I get paid? The hamster wheel effect of like, just saying, hey, this is the route I'm going to go. This gets me paid. Not really looking at, the aspect of like, does this fulfill me or does this really, add to my purpose? But at that particular moment, I wasn't into that. I didn't tap into my purpose and all those particular things. So, but to answer your question, Charlotte is long-term. I love it here, man. I love it. Like to be a part of a city that's growing, it's very rare, and in America, especially today, because like most cities are established already. So for us to be at a point to where we have the ability to be the decision makers, especially when it comes to business, when it comes to content, when it comes to anything, like I have to take advantage of this opportunity, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same way when it comes to this particular city. It's like places can have better things, but the thing about Charlotte is like, it has a home feeling, also like it also has a progressive feeling at the same time. And that's very rare to feel at home and to be in a progressive space to where like new things are coming, new ideas, new businesses, new people. Charlotte's the long-term movement. I'm not going anywhere. How about you, man?
Maybe not long term. Yeah. Love Charlotte to death. Yeah. For me and my wife, I think it's always been a little bit of a stepping stone city. I think I mentioned that to you the first time we linked up. I'm not sure what exactly that looks like. You know, I'm just building what I can build at the time being, see what happens. And then I'm a big advocate of go where you grow and figure
100%.
it out. Right.
I like that.
So
I like that.
It's not necessarily like you have these long-term goals. Yes. But it's not, again, having the blinders and having such limited vision where you're not open to other opportunities.
100%,
you know,
100%.
So, but I agree with you wholeheartedly that Charlotte, like abundant opportunity. You know, people can step up and instantly kind of be a voice and a presence in Charlotte because it's not yet so established. It's not like
saturated. It's not saturated to that degree. Yeah, it's not saturated. Like somebody explained it to me perfectly. It's like you can go to an event here in Charlotte and you can literally be next to the CEO of one of the top companies, and it's normal. It's not, and in other cities, it's not like that. Like you have to 100%. Pay for access, and here the access is your social capital. Like, you know, getting out there, getting to know people, being invited to certain events, things of that nature. But yeah, I actually do agree with your concept though on, you know, not limiting yourself to different opportunities. I definitely agree with that. I think for me, when it comes to Charlotte too, is like I have family here now. You know, raising a daughter, things of that nature, it's having different. Stability is different. And so for me, Charlotte is going to always be the hub, and just travel and just travel a lot. You know what I mean? And eventually, like, you know, when certain aspects of your life advance, you never know where, you know, it can take you. But to have the social capital that I have here, to have something here always is important to me. You know, to build that foundation.
So let's take a step back to, you were talking about, you came in through finance. You're working, I assume, at a bank. You know, 10, 11, 12 years ago. When was that transition where you kind of went off on your own? You're like, I love this fitness, this wellness route. This is kind of where my passions lie. What did that transition look like for you? Because it's really hard when you're getting a fat salary and you're like, man, I'm in a really good position. Maybe you even like your job, but you're like, this isn't my long-term passion that I want to stay in.
Right? And it's exactly how you said it. Like, you know, at that moment, I really didn't understand that the value of, like you said, purpose, or, you know, looking at things from a more spiritual kind of standpoint, you know, just saying, hey, like I was more 1 + 1 = 2, you know, like, hey, you do this, you do that, here you go. But again, you know, it got to the point, and I'm so happy I caught it early, because I got into banking, luckily at like 18 years old. You know, very early. Normally, people don't get in that early. I got in there early because like a guy that was a banker when I was growing up eventually became a manager of a branch, and he knew I was turning 18. We built a relationship since I was like 12. He was like, hey, you know what? I got a job for you. So I started off as a teller. So I got in there early. I think it was just more or less like, hey, I got in, I got a good opportunity. Let me make the most out of this opportunity and just roll with it. Not really realizing.
Which bank?
Chase Bank. Chase, yeah. So this is in New York, Chase Bank. And so, yeah, so when I came down, in, was it 2000? Yeah, 2012, I came down, I transferred to Fifth Third Bank. Great staff, great brand. But I remember one day, bro, literally I'm at my desk, and, you know, obviously this didn't happen in reality, but I felt this feeling of just like the rooms like caving in, swear. Like it was just like this heavy pressure, and I was just like, man, this is not for me, man. It's not like I don't have like the impact that I want to have. And around this time, I started really getting into personal development. So this is when I got introduced to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. You know, so, you know, now my mind is operating at a different frequency of like, hey, like, you know, am I being the best version of myself? And if this environment isn't supporting that, I have to make change. So what happened was I actually just got into training just for the simple fact of just wanting to get out of banking. Like I was like, hey, you know what? Let me try this. Let me get certified. Started studying for National Academy of Sports and Medicine, NASM. And then I got a job at Lifetime Fitness here in Matthews, and ended up loving it. And then ended up just quitting banking and just went full throttle, you know? And so the thing about training, when I became a personal trainer, that really invoked me was more or less like the camaraderie that you can build with the person. You know, I felt like that spoke to more of my strengths than anything, you know, being able to sit here and converse about life, about anything, you know, while at the same time helping this person start to do preventative measures for their health. You know, it was like a win-win situation, you know? So, like I said, it kind of happened on accident, but the way it happened, how it happened, I'm happy, you know, just taking that leap of faith and saying, hey, let's go, let's roll with it. So it was cool. It was good.
So you transitioned to, it's Lifetime?
Yeah, Lifetime Fitness.
Lifetime Fitness.
Amazing brand.
And I can speak to your ability. You're just very personable, easy to talk to. Like as soon as we had coffee for the first time, I'm like, you just have this presence, this warmness about you.
Appreciate it, bro.
That I really appreciate. And it's just, refreshing. Yeah. It almost fills my cup up to talk to you just because you have that warm presence, which is awesome. It's rare.
Appreciate
rare to find people like that.
Appreciate it.
But you have that transition, and then, you maybe start to catch the entrepreneurial bug a little bit, where you're like, you know what, this is a great place to maybe get some experience in the industry and work one-on-one with clients, learn the ropes a little bit, but I could do this myself.
Absolutely.
And I can take it a step further and build something with that. So what did that look like for you when you were building that?
Oh man, I owe everything to like the mentors I've had, the people the random coffee, dates I've had with, my peers or, people I've looked up to, because I've been, very fortunate to come across information that has helped me change my mindset. One thing I heard a quote one time, and it says, information changes situations. And so again, tapping into the Think and Grow Rich aspect, then tapping into financial books. Have you heard of Robert Kiyosaki? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So like the 4 quadrants he talks about? Yeah. So, like transferring from the employee to the business owner. And
this is Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, Rich
right?
Dad Poor Dad. Okay. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Well, actually, you know what? He talks about it in Rich Dad Poor Dad. He actually goes more exclusive in it. He has like a real estate book that really, really like talks about it extensively, but you can't find it in Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so looking at that 4 quadrant and going from the employee to the business owner, like to me, it made all the sense. And at that particular time, when I really dived into entrepreneurship, I was around 25, 26. And so I was like, if I don't do this now.
How old are you now?
I'm 33 right now, 33, yep. So if I don't do this now, I'm going to, 1, regret it later, but then 2, it's, how can you ignore something that's so obvious? I'm reading this information. It would literally like be me ignoring like my higher self and saying like, hey bro, like you got it. And so but how it happened was actually, again, just something forced my hand, but I always think things happen for a reason at the particular time. So I was actually working at Lifetime. I created a sales page for my online training. And at this time, this is 2016, online training wasn't where it was today in 2016. It was picking up, but there still was a very limited number of people who were actually going full-fledged with it. And I saw the potential of it. I ended up buying a program for like $5,000, a coaching program, how to get everything started. And so I was like locked in. I was like, Lifetime Fitness isn't offering this. This is a service that I can offer people. Somehow, some way, man, my district manager came across my page. I don't know how he got to my page, bro. I really don't. And we're actually really, really cool. So we're both big Michigan football fans. Go Blue, by the way. We're both big Michigan football fans, so we're really cool. So he came across my page. This is December 2015. He said, he's like, hey, bro, I came across your page. He was like, I have to cover my ass. So, you know what I mean? I know we're cool, but I can't allow you to like, sell that. If you're going to go that route, just let me know, but you can't work here at the same time. And I got his perspective. He's like, hey, I know we don't offer that, but it can be kind of like you offering people that in here, like under
and
our
what
particular.
were you offering that they didn't offer?
So at that particular moment, it was very simple. It was very just like online programming, something that was going to be like a monthly membership. I would program for you. At that particular moment, I wasn't licensed in nutrition services yet. So it was very basic, but it came with an app, the very early days of Trainerize. It came with everything that you needed for that particular moment. I just wanted to offer something extra. One, I'm thinking more like an entrepreneur now too, but I wanted to just create something that had residual income. So to me, I got it to the point to where I had 100 people paying me, this is the early days, $29.99 a month. You know what I mean? That's significant money, extra $2,000 plus a month, when you're an entrepreneur, you're grinding, things of that nature, so going back to the story, he saw it and he said, hey, bro, I'm gonna give you a couple of weeks. And, I'm gonna like give you a couple of weeks to like, just kind of decide on what you want to do. And funny story, I ended up going to Elevation Church for a New Year's event with my mom. And so I'm there and the pastor said something so vividly to me, and it just kind of made me like say, hey, this is a decision. But something also happened after that as well. But he mentioned, he was like, hey, life is like a slingshot. Sometimes, it pulls you back to accelerate you forward even more, And so for me, it was going to be the loss of these amenities, the loss of this amazing brand that I work for, the loss of these clients. But I might be without for a little while, but it's going to prepare me for it even more. And that's exactly, what it did. So it was amazing, man. I think like certain things just have to happen to you, or you have to be put in a position to make moves. And that's what I did. I was like, you know what? Like at the end of the day, I still have these skills that I built, so I can go out and do anything. And I've been doing that now for probably like almost going on 8 years now. 8 years, man. 8 years. So yeah, 8 years full-time entrepreneur, man.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, man, for
I
sure.
love that story. I love the slingshot metaphor. And there's oftentimes those crossroads in life where there's the risky option and then there's the safe option.
Absolutely.
And, depending on what season of life you're in, sometimes that's a damn hard decision, man. Right? It probably was a little bit easier for you at that time. Were you single at the time and like?
Yeah, actually, what's so crazy is like I was single, then became engaged a couple years later.
Okay.
So it's definitely easier. It was easier because like that my then fiance was doing nursing, but she was traveling nursing. So I got the free time to actually put the work in. I got the free time to do this, do that. So it definitely, my situation at that time favored me a lot, but it's definitely a grind.
So
definitely a grind.
At that time, did you have the Lab 243 branding, or did that come with time?
It came with time. It came with time. Like, so the Lab 243 came, we started Lab 243 in 2019. Okay. 2019. So literally it was at first just my personal training company.
It was like Pat James Fitness or something.
Because it was Pat James Training at first, and talking to branding
just
coaches.
Move the mic a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. Talking to branding coaches, things of that nature. I wanted to take my name away from it.
Yep.
I wanted to have the ability to grow without me if that was ever the case. So I took the Pat James away and just, rocked with the Lab 243, and it's been rocking ever since. And so it's definitely evolved, and especially to where it is now. A big project that me and my business partner Jordan are working on, man, is amazing. So we definitely are full-fledged in like corporate wellness right now. Nice. Just corporate wellness. So we got some good leads coming in, and we realized like this, the capacity of wellness and how we want to do it. This is the route that we're locked in. So we're just committed and we're rolling.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Speak to me about when you brought a partner on, when you guys linked up, and why you decided to do that. Because maybe his strengths play to your weaknesses.
And that's exactly how it works. So it's crazy how partnerships start. So Jordan is a brother of mine, man. Like we have daughters that are around the same age, 4 years old. We instantly connected when we met. This was I'll probably say 2017, 2018. And we knew we always wanted to do something with each other. So actually during COVID, we actually attempted to flip a home together. So it didn't even start in the fitness space. And he's actually in the fitness space. He's been in the fitness space for over 10 years as well. Okay. He's a co-owner of one of the Rock Boxes here in Charlotte. And so we tried to flip a home. Through that process, I think we learned so much about each other, in terms of like, his strengths and my weaknesses, vice versa, things of that nature. And it took our brotherhood from just being brothers to like actual business partners. I actually trust you. I, trust this process because that deal did not go good at all. And we had a contractor who basically just, did us dirty, did us dirty. So we had to take a loss. But I think we learned more than anything the commitment that we have for each other. It's like, hey, listen, we both taking this loss. We're going to man up and take this loss. So that actually helped us realize that we can actually be business partners. And so that actually converted us to, him coming abroad on Lab 243. He's a co-owner, even though, I found the company. I was like, hey, bro, this is just as much yours as it is mine. We keep our personal training separate, but we do have a corporate wellness company to where
there's that slingshot coming back.
Absolutely. Bro. Absolutely. 100%. And it goes right back to that. So man, it's been amazing to like have someone who is like that, who has, a similar vision, but similar to your story as well. Like we've had to have certain segments or certain parts of our company go a separate way, and so like, for instance, like the YouTube branding, like I'm going my own direction in that route. And so he's going to go a different route when it comes to athletic training, but we also have certain things that we do together. So like you mentioned earlier, it's about finding your vision, but at the same time, understanding that you can have tough conversations to say, hey, I want to go this route. I want to go this route while also still working together. You know what I mean? So it's been a beautiful relationship. Yeah, man. So definitely on. Yeah.
I remember, I think it was October where you were doing, was it October when you did your 30 days?
Yeah.
So you did
90
days.
90,
so
90.
Is it still going on? Or
No. It ended October 18th. It ended probably like a couple weeks after I talked to you. Yeah.
Okay. 90 days. Damn.
90 days.
Okay. Let me remember. Let me see how much of this I remember. No drinking.
No drinking.
No sex.
No sex.
No weed.
No weed.
meditation every day.
Yep.
Sending messages of gratitude every day.
Every day. Yep.
And there was one more thing, or maybe two. What was it?
Was it no sex? No, I think that was it.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah. No sex, no weed.
So it started at 30 days.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like life-changing for you. And you're like, all right, let's keep it going.
Right.
Talk to me about that process. Like what prompted you to start that and then continue it?
It's so crazy, man. Quite a few things prompted me. So there's a guy, his name has a great brand. He's an entrepreneur. His name is his Instagram name is Prince O'Donnell. I don't know his first name, but his name is Prince O'Donnell. And he was actually doing something similar. And, so the idea sparked from him kind of. I was like, okay, like, I like that. I like that. Something just straightforward, straight to the point. And, so I've been thinking about it for a while. But what actually happened, man, this past summer, I'm being completely honest, went through like a little tough breakup, and it was a very amicable breakup. But, when you have a vision or an idea of someone being in your life and then that switches or that transfers over, like it's tough mentally. So for me personally, I was like, you know what, like, let me start this now, middle of the summer, something that's going to keep me focused because, at that particular time, in the summertime, everybody's out, everybody's drinking, women are half naked everywhere we go, things of that nature. I didn't want to be subdued to, going through something and then coping in a way that wasn't healthy. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let me put myself up to the challenge. So I was like 30 days, no sex, no weed, no drinking, just something to like, heal in the proper way instead of like, thinking about past relationships where you heal in a negative way. Once the 30 days got complete, I was like, you know what? Like, this was amazing. Like, so in that 30-day stretch, I've made more money than any 30-day stretch all year. Wow. The clarity I had, the sense of, just progression, all those particular things. I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let me stretch it to 90. Like if 30 did that, like I know 90 would not only challenge me, but I know 90 would bring like amazing results. And so, man, listen, like not only did it bring out business, it brought out opportunities. It also healed previous, dynamics and relationships. It also affected the relationships that I currently have in terms of with my family, friends, being able to spend more time, being able to have tough conversations, being more aware of the people in your life. Like, and that's what those gratitude messages were for. Like in the morning, I would have to think about like, okay, who is somebody different I could say thank you to today. And then by doing that, you're like, man, man, this person was once in my life every day. Let me reach out to them. And so like it helped on all fronts, and it's also encouraged me to do like 2 30-day stints a year, so like I'll pick like, maybe a fall or a spring and say, hey, 30 days just because of like what it did. But yeah, man, it's crazy how like, I don't want to use the word tragedy, but like not so good things in your life sparks actually something like amazing to happen, so yeah, that's how it happened.
Out of those 5 things, which one was the most impactful for you, do you think? Anyone stand out the most?
I think for me, it had to be the no weed aspect, So for me, once in a while, I'll take an edible, or if I'm at an event, and friends are like smoking, I'll smoke. You know what I mean? Like, so the thing about it for me was like, it's this piece of clarity that I didn't realize I was fogging my brain with, And even though it's very seldom that I do it, it's just like it sets you back days, And even though like it's so harmless to me, I realized like it's not something for me. You know what I mean? And so from that particular aspect, had to like really cancel that particular piece, like out my life, from that particular notion. So that was big for me. And I will say what was a fairly tie was the sex piece. I realized how a lot of decisions I would make, especially single decisions, us guys, everything's pertaining to sex. It is. Like, when it comes to drinking, when it comes to,
whether you want to admit it or not.
Whether you want to admit it or not, like the way 100%. You look, everything gets pertained to sex. Like we look for the admiration of, the person that we're trying to, admire, whatever the case may be. So doing that, but also showed me, and this is just from a male perspective, there's no need to chase. Like I probably in that span of 90 days had more women interested in me in that 90 days than I've ever had.
I believe it.
Isn't that crazy?
I believe it.
Like it's wild, and you're more aware of noticing signs like of like flirtation. You're like, oh, okay, like it's just like you. I'm telling you, man, it was the most clarity. And the thing about it is just like there's a difference between chase and pursue. You know what I mean? If you're interested in somebody, pursue them. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like the actual chasing part, the actual putting that, adoration of a female above your goals, above like the things that you need to get done, like, nah, like, no, you don't need to do that. Like, like I do believe that like women are attracted to someone who actually is putting their purpose and their mission first, because you can see like work ethic that way. You can see, real personality that way. But these are things that men, we're not taught. We're taught to chase until you figure it out. Like actually that's not, most things that you chase actually run. So, real talk. So yeah, but it worked out.
What's your philosophy around working with clients and individuals? So like, it's easy to say, I'm a personal trainer. I help you with diet. I help you with fitness. I help you with mindset and all these things. But just after talking to you, I know that there's so much more depth to it than that with you. Yeah. And so when you're taking somebody on one-on-one, what are the primary pieces that you focus on? I know a big part of that with you is mindset. Yeah, mindset. So how do you tap into that with some of these clients that you
So every client is different, and this was, I love being a trainer because like it's like a blessing in disguise. It helps you to really be a person who knows how to handle different personality types. And so what's so important is those first 2 weeks, really, having, workouts that show consistency, but at the same time, having conversations that revolve around everything but fitness. So like I like to just talk to them about their life in general, offer advice, or if it's somebody that I can learn from, ask for advice, and, do that process of just listening and focusing on like active listening. You get to see what a person like does to get them like either motivated or what helps them adhere to the goal at hand, and everybody's different. Some people like a text every day, some people like you to send very motivational, philosophical videos, things of that nature. I'll test it out, no matter what. But to me, my philosophy is the relationship first. A person they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And so, showing that I'm interested in the things that they find valuable. And through that process, I'm actually able to learn about things that I've never would have learned about, So I have a bunch of clients who have turned to like big sisters, big brothers, mentors, like just off of the strength of just asking them questions. And so, like you said, mindset is huge. But before the mindset, like, I would say the relationship. Just making sure that we have like a very solid relationship. I could depend on you. You can depend on me. I'm here for you. You're here for me. And that helps not only with referrals, but that helps them take in the information that I'm actually giving them. That helps them listen more. That helps them say, hey, like this person cares about me. So what he's saying about my nutrition is valid, like, because he actually cares. So yeah, the relationship would be the biggest piece.
So I assume you built your business off of those relationships, word of mouth, primarily, would you say? Yep. So how do you take that strategy and scale it to something like corporate wellness?
So where I'm at a crossroads right now, to where like I love what I do. I love the one-on-one feel. But like you mentioned, like in order to grow a company to where you want it to grow, it has to scale at some sort. So the one-on-one personal training piece isn't scalable. So taking the skill sets and also using the skill sets of other practitioners in their particular field, we said, hey, let's create a company that revolves around not only what we do, but what other practitioners do, but just under our umbrella. And so how we would scale that is like, when it comes to corporate wellness, you're having contracts with corporations, and for whatever services they want you to serve on, you create custom programs for that. The way you scale at this particular instance is, leveraging the work that you've done previously, similar to maybe a success story of a previous client, using that to get another client. But then also too, seeing how you can replicate yourself with other companies. So say, for instance, if we get a contract, let's say we have a contract with Chase Bank, how can I be replicated when Bank of America wants to come in and have a contract, hypothetically speaking? That's a lot of SOPs. That's a lot of, making sure that, hey, we have the right practitioners in place. And so for me, it's working with other people and using my skill sets and my know-how in business to just help scale a company at large, stuff like that. So like it's going well. A lot to learn. A lot to learn, but I'm excited. I want the challenge of like learning and being a leader of people, you know, and, you know, recognizing who can I learn from, you know, and bringing people onto the team that know more about business than I do, you know. And so I think that's the next challenge for me in life right now.
Are you a very goal-oriented person?
Super.
So how often do you typically set goals? Are you setting goals like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And then how did it look for 2023 as far as what goals you set and what you actually achieved? And then in 2024, this is kind of a personal question, but curious like what you're striving for and what you think that you could do better that you didn't execute on maybe in 2023.
I love it. So I'll start with 2023. So 2023 met a financial goal of mine. So I was happy about that. You know what I mean? Definitely eclipsed my my total revenue from the previous year. So that was good. In terms of goal setting, what I do is like, I like to break things down like yearly, but then break them down quarterly. But then even after quarterly, I break them down like daily. And so like I had this, I wouldn't call it a negative habit, but it's a habit of like looking at the bigger picture too much without breaking the thing down day by day, you know? And so for me, my goal is to complete the task list daily because I know a bunch of todays make a tomorrow, you know? And so I have this set list and I focus on that list. And that list also keeps me present because I can fixate on previous problems or I can fixate on what tomorrow may look like. So, hey, I have this goal. I break that goal down into like a 30-day calendar. This is great for ChatGPT, by the way. All right. So what I'll do is like, I've actually gotten even better at it. I'll write my goal out and say, hey, I need a 30-day action step plan to finish this goal.
Sick.
And so I'll take some of what ChatGPT has, kind of implement my own thing and just execute on it. Like most people, have you ever heard this quote? I forgot who it's from, but basically it's like, you don't need the perfect plan. You just need a plan. And if you just go, you're going to make some progress and that progress is going to tell you where you need to dictate next. Like, so the plan isn't the problem. The thing about it is I think people are trying to find the perfect plan. And then even after they execute on that plan for a short amount of time and they don't see any change, they like veer off, you know? And so for me, it's like, no, I have this thing that I need to do today and I'm going to do that thing today. And
isn't that the exact same thing as getting a trainer is just creating structure? Without the structure, you go to shit. Absolutely. But if you have the structure and you have a little bit of accountability, boom,
100%. Structure creates freedom. You don't know where the freedom is if you don't create the structure behind it. Easier said than done. I will say that. It's not like something that I'm perfect at or anything, but I use certain metrics. Like there's an app called Productive. Have you heard of that app before?
Yeah, you put me on it last time.
Okay, we talked about it. Yeah. So to me, I love that app because it gives me percentages of like how efficient are you actually being, you know? And when I have something that I can measure,
that's cool.
I can say, hey, am I being lazy in this area or am I putting too much on my plate? You know, then I need to. And it also helps you scale back because I think that's also a trait of entrepreneurs is trying to do so much that particular day or that particular week. When in reality, it's just like, hey, like, you know, this is good enough for right now, you know, add this on. Because like if you add more, are you going to really making it quality or are you really focused on just the quantity of things, you know? So, yeah.
I like that you brought that up because I'm somebody too. I'm like, all right, let's knock out the big. I try to do a big 3 of the day.
Okay,
and if I can knock out all 3 of those, I've had a phenomenal day. But sometimes I fall into the trap of like adding more or like these 3 things are too ambitious to knock out in a day.
Right.
And you're kind of setting yourself up for a little bit of failure. You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's unrealistic, but you stick it on there anyway. And then it kind of just compounds where it's like it doesn't get done that day or the next day because it's so ambitious.
Exactly.
So breaking it down and being like just getting little wins on a daily basis I think is so important and just marking it off. It's more of a mental checkbox than anything. But I found where I do love the big 3 thing. That's kind of what structure I use. But I've had to dial it back a little bit and be like, okay, let's be more realistic with what we're getting done because I need to mentally have that check mark because it's like you build momentum mentally in mental fortitude by just getting a little bit of win every day. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I've been working with.
How is that? Like, so those big 3, do you have like a certain time frame? Like, do you know how much those big three, how much time that consumes from you on a day-to-day basis?
Ideally, I want the big three to take, like 70 to 80% of my time for the day.
Okay,
And then the other stuff is just little stuff you need to knock out, like to-do list items with the other 20%. But most things in life, dude, I'm like 80-20. 80-20.
So how's that work? So are you getting the big three done at an efficient rate? I like the big three. I like that concept.
What I try to do is knock them out first and foremost, first thing of the day. And so this has changed for me. I used to, and this is another thing I'll touch on a little bit. You put me on like the 5 a.m. club, the book.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in waking up early and just getting shit knocked out. Right. So nowadays, since I'm doing endurance training, that's what I knock out first because it's the hardest thing of my day.
Absolutely.
But prior to that, I used to wake up 4:30, get working by 5, and then be able to have 5 to basically 8 of that quiet time. That is a superpower right there. If you're building a business, that 3 hours every single day,
amazing.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
But I don't have that anymore because now I'm doing endurance training. So I need to find a way to still be productive.
Right.
So as soon as I finish my training, then I come back and then I'll dive into that like 2 to 3 hours of like solo quiet time. I put my phone on do not disturb and I try to just knock out as much as I can of those big 3 items every single day. Because you want to get a check mark for the day as early as you can. 100%. Because the rest of the day you'll feel great. You'll probably get extra stuff done, but like there's no pressure. And you know that you knocked out the most important thing that you needed to knock out.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of how I think about it.
No, I like that too. Like do the heavy loading first.
Yes.
Heavy loading first and like allow the rest of the stuff, allow the day to get easier as you progress.
Because your brain is not increasing in juice and productivity as the day goes on. It's decreasing. You're using up that 100% that you have every single day.
Is depleted by a certain point, especially depending on like what you do out there. I like that. I like that a lot. So like you're waking up. What time is your wake up call?
4:30.
4:30. What time are you hitting running?
So I'm trying to get at the gym. So I lift first. So I'll try to get to the Y right on the dot at 5. It doesn't always happen, but between 5 and 5:30, I start my workout at the gym. Work out there for an hour, then immediately go into my run because it's just conducive to endurance. 100%. So run for an hour after that. Then I got 2 workouts in before your ass woke up. So not you, but like,
but for real. Yeah. Seriously.
And I'm like, if I can do that, I don't have to do it every single day, but if I can do that 5 days a week for, compounding, bro,
that's solid, man.
I got 2 wins in and got my 2 workouts done, my hardest things of the day before you even clocked in or before you even woke up.
And that's what people ask me that, like, they're like, why do you wake up so early? And I was just like, hey, but like, by the time it's 12 noon, I'm 8 hours into the day and I've knocked out so much stuff. So much stuff. And the beauty to me, and this is a very underrated aspect of entrepreneurship, is like once you get your business to a certain point, like you can take a nap midday. Oh my God.
You're a big napper?
Bro, what? If I can get like 20 minutes in.
The power nap. There's magic in the power nap.
I'm going to butcher this word, but is it binaural?
I don't know.
The binaural sound. Have you heard of that?
No.
You haven't heard of that? Have you heard of, this guy's amazing. You've heard of this guy before too. Have you heard of the On It brand?
Yeah.
Aubrey Marcus?
Aubrey Marcus, yeah.
Yes. So he has a book he wrote maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm gonna get you the name of the book. But he has these binaural sounds. So these are sound waves that you can listen to, and they put you in states of focus, put you in states of sleep, all these particular things. So like I'll go on Spotify. They have it on Apple Music as well. You can just search binaural sound sleep. And I'll put that on for like 2 minutes, like set my timer at like 21. So I never want to go over like 21 minutes. It seems like it's a perfect standpoint. Like I'll wake up a little bit energized, totally ready to just like to hit the second half of the day.
So you go to sleep within 2 minutes, you can fall asleep?
I could definitely go to sleep within 2 minutes, for sure. Because my alarm goes off every day, 4:30, 4:45.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm up, and
that's
like,
a good point.
I'm up. My first client's at 5:30. So like I have to be alert, things of that nature. And my morning routine is always like I'll go to the gym. The home gym here, I'll go to the gym and knock out 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 5 minutes of cardio. That's my wake up routine. That's like a coffee for me.
That's from 5 a.m. Club, the book. It's
similar.
Like get a little bit of physical activity in.
Yep. Get a little bit of physical activity in. But just to get those endorphins going. And so like that helps me like, feel like those, like that high level of like focus and intensity, like, you know, for the first few hours of my day. So, and then I'll get my workout in between like, you know, 10 and 12 o'clock. Like that, yeah. So I'm definitely key on the morning routine. So like, I know why you feel the way you feel when you say, hey, like, let me get up, let me do that hardest thing first. You know,
there's a reason why there's all these books on the perfect morning routine and wake up, because you can literally get an extra day into your week if you get up a couple hours early.
An extra day, but it all depends on what time you go to bed.
Right.
What time you go to sleep?
That's another thing too, is everybody's talking about like, man, I can't get to sleep. I have struggle sleeping.
Yeah.
If you wake up at 4:35 every day, you will not have trouble sleeping. I'm going to tell you that right now.
You won't.
You sleep like a baby. So I try to be in bed by 9, asleep by 9:30.
Okay.
And I'm fortunate because my wife's the same way. She likes a nice early
That's
bedtime.
key.
So we both get in bed, read a little bit. Reading puts me right to sleep.
That is key. That is key.
Again, like if you have a structure and a system where you're waking up early, but you're also able to go to bed early, you will sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
That's key. No, it's true. It's like if you start your day early, your body's going to want to end the day early. So you're going to, trust me, you're going to want to go to sleep at like 8:39. So I'm similar. I try to be in the bed by like 9:45 to 10.
Yeah.
Knocked out sleep.
And you're shooting for 7 hours a night?
I'm shooting for seven to 8. For me, you know, the one thing that like at night that I've had to, this is the only time I have to do it. And it's something that I picked up as like a passion project. So I'm a big house music fan, house music fan. So actually picked up DJing, man, as like a hobby.
Right. I remember.
Like, yeah, just a hobby, just as something to be creative. Like I need a creative outlet that's separate from my career, you know, something that I have nothing to do with at all. And so learning it has been one of the most amazing things, man. First of all, I have much respect for DJs. Like, it's not easy at all. It's not
just
easy.
Getting up there and flipping.
It's not, man. Like the timing, your music catalog, just learning the controls of the DJ controller itself, reading the crowd. Like I'm nowhere near that type of level, but taking courses, it's been actually a really, really cool experience. So the time that I have to insert to that, and again, breaking it down, I just have 30 minutes of practice each day. 30 minutes of practice each day, but like I have to knock out work stuff first throughout the day. Yep. So I kind of use that as a reward system. I'm saying, okay, you know what? If I complete 100% of my tasks today, I got 30 minutes of DJing, you know what I mean? And so it kind of motivates me to kind of do this thing that I'm interested in, you know? So yeah, so it works out. But yeah, I'm the same way. You get to bed early. Nothing's really going on past 9 o'clock anyway.
No. So do you even structure in this 30 minutes a day? Like when do you typically do it? Is it like from 8 to 8:30 is when I do this?
So from that is usually from like 8:45 to like 9:15.
That's structured where you're like 8:45 comes around, I gotta do it.
I want to do it that way because like, so my daughter, she goes to bed between like 8:45.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so we want to stick with that. So like that'll be the time where I don't have to worry about her. That'll be time I can just put these headphones on and just zone out.
I feel like that would get you hyped before bed too, because you're just like in there.
It would. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it does. It does alert me a little bit more. Yeah. I think for me, like by that time, again, waking up at 4:30, like my body's just like it's over. Like it's time to go to bed. You know. So I try to in the weekends try to do that earlier in the day. But like, you know, during the weekday, at least 2-3 days of practice. You know, and then you know, me and my daughter's mom, we have a great schedule with our daughter. So we have 50% custody split of our daughter. So there are days, also evenings, where I don't have my daughter as well. Yeah. And so it works out like that. So for us having an amazing co-parenting relationship, like we're able to pick up hobbies and we're able to do these particular things. So I want to give big kudos to her. Like it definitely helps me, you know, lock into things that I want to lock into and vice versa. So it works out. Yeah.
I know you're an avid reader.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, so it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy to be an avid reader, but you know, it's not that hard to read a lot of books. What's hard is to implement the books into your life. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like I would rather read 10 books a year and actually implement them when last year I read 50 books for the year. That was one of my goals. 50 books for 52 weeks. And I did it, but I felt like I didn't really retain all that much.
There's no way to retain that.
Right.
There's no way, because it's like, it's new information.
It was cool that I hit the goal, but I'm like, okay, this year, new goal, like find 10 impactful books that you're
Yeah.
able to implement into your
Yeah.
life. Is that how you
Yeah.
think about it? And then how do you actually go about strategically saying, okay, these are the things I need to actually act on and implement into my day to day?
So when I first got into reading, I basically was the same way you were. Like I was reading a plethora of books, but realizing like, okay, it's a great feeling in picking up a new book and saying, hey, I've got it done, you know, but that's more of our ego. Like, cause if you really think about it, like, what did you implement from that particular book? You know, so I actually stopped buying books. And so I have a ton of personal development books that I say, hey, I'm going to go back through each of these books again at my own pace and implement these particular things. Like, so I haven't purchased a personal development book probably like within like the last year or so. And I'm going back through every one, you know, and just saying, hey, how can I implement this? So right now, my structure with books is always something personal development, something business. So I'm pretty sure you know Alex Hormozy. He has the $100 million lead book that I'm reading right now. And I'm actually going over right now, there's a book. I'm going to butcher the name. It's a foreign name, but basically it's more of I would say more of a stoicism book based on current principles in life, things of that nature. I forgot the name, but yeah, basically for me, right now it's, you know, always having something business related, then always having something personal development related. So stoicism has been a thing for me for like, and honestly, since I started the challenge, that has actually been huge in terms of like my growth, in terms of like, you know, my perception on things. So to answer your question originally, like, yeah, like no more overload of just reading a book just to read it. Like, what are you taking from this book and how can you implement it in your life? Yeah.
Do you ever just read for fun?
No, I don't find it fun. I find it, well, all right. If I am to, fun is such an arbitrary word. It is though. So I guess I enjoy it, I guess, but I don't say, hey, for fun, I'm going to read a book. Like, nah.
Well, the reason I asked that and how I kind of think about it, sometimes I'll read two books where I'll have my personal development book and then I'll have like my fun, quote unquote, book. So I'm really into like adventure, survival, mountaineering. Like I love reading stories about people and these from years and years, the last 50 to 100 years of like when they first climbed Mount Everest and like these crazy stories climbing K2. Like I love climbing books. I don't know why, but it just kind of lets my mind kind of chill out and not necessarily have to be like, okay, because also I'm reading before bed. So it's like, if I'm starting to drift off, it's kind of hard to take in a lot of the information. Like I think I am, but as soon as you fall asleep, like you retain maybe a little bit. But I'm just curious if there's any nonfiction or anything like that you're into.
No, man, not the reading piece. That's why I seeked out, you know, like attempting to learn how to DJ, you know, because I wanted that thing that was separate from, you know, just, you know, reading or something from business wise, because for me, it's hard to differentiate, like, you know, reading books that aren't going to help me in my career. Like, so when I'm reading this personal development book, in reality, I'm reading it to make me a better business person. You know what I mean? Indirectly, it makes me a better person in general, but I guess my association with it is still work, still business. When I pick up the DJ controllers, it's purely like I'm a novice. I don't know anything going on. I'm learning at the same time, listening to some really dope music, you know? And so that's probably the fun factor. But like, so you say you're reading a book on, like, you know, you said hiking, like things like, so what are you finding that you want to do these particular things?
Oh yeah.
Are you getting to that point? Yeah.
Right now I have to do it through reading because my wife does not want me to start climbing mountains because it's just very dangerous.
So like climbing mountains, like, whoa,
like
bro.
Mountaineering. Like I want to climb Everest. I want to climb some of the world's biggest mountains. Yeah. You know, and it's just extremely
How's that
dangerous.
conversation with her, man? That's different.
It's something I'm okay just putting on the back burner for now. Like I totally understand. Like I'm in a season of life where I'm trying to build and provide for my family. You know, maybe down the road when I'm like established, I'm 40, you know, maybe even sooner than that. But that's tough too, because, you know, I have my ambitions and like, you know, she has a lot of leniency because I do run 100-mile races and I'm starting to run these things that's like, it takes a lot out of you.
Right.
Not to say they're all that dangerous, but it's just a lot.
It's depleting. It's definitely physically depleting.
She knows, hey, the next week or two after I finish a race, I'm going to be a whole lot more dependent on her because I can't even really walk around the house, you know, things like that. So she she does support me through all that kind of thing. But when it comes to starting to climb mountains and do more dangerous things, she's a little bit more hesitant.
I get that. Hey, that's another factor in terms of pursuit of goals. You know, when you have people in your life that you truly, truly care about and that really have your back, but taking their opinion into account when it comes to like, your ambitions and how they affect the relationship, which a lot of people don't talk about that particular piece, because like when we think of success, we think of like all of the personal battles that we have to embark on. But like some of those personal battles are with other people, and they have nothing to do with your training or anything like that, but they're greatly affected, by like, you pursuing this particular goal, man.
It goes back to those difficult conversations that nobody wants to have, and it gets put off. Yes. And then you say, hey, honey, I signed up for a mountaineering trip. She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And you think about it like this, right? And I know, especially for like, I can only speak from a man's point of view. We come across passions, always, and it could be every year, every other year, or things that may spark a passion in us. And that person that you're with didn't know you in this phase of like you wanting to try this thing. So this is something that they don't think about as you guys are getting together, as you guys get engaged, as you guys get married. And, that is one of the unique positions of like relationships, of saying, hey, how can I be with this person, but also allow them to grow into who they ultimately want to become, even if it takes time away from me. That's tough.
Bro, so glad you brought that up.
That's tough.
Because I was not running 100 milers when I met my wife, right?
Yeah.
This all happened in the last year and a half. Yeah. So she didn't know me she knew me, but I wasn't in that season of life. So that's been a huge transition for her too, to be like, okay, this is what we do now. He runs 100 milers like 2-3 times a year. Yeah. I just got to be ready for it and know like that's what's coming. But again, it all goes back to that communication piece of like, this is so important to me. This is now one of my passions. Like I know you maybe didn't realize that, and I didn't even realize it back in the day. But like this is who we are, and so I need you to support me with this. But I also want to reciprocate and say like, I want to support you in these other passions too. So I want to help you go and find out some of these other things and be there for you in those seasons of life as well. But man, we deal with that all the time. That's one of the things that is challenging for us too.
One of the you mentioned something key at the end of your sentence that I think, that I've learned, throughout my, time in relationships is like, two people do have to have like individual aspirations outside of the relationship, because like what it does for you pursuing this goal of yours, it's more than what someone can quantify. It's the feeling, it's the lessons that you obtain along the way, things of that nature. I truly do feel if two people are challenging themselves in that way, it makes it easier to understand the other person.
100%.
When one person is being ambitious outside of the relationship and another isn't in any kind of way, it makes it difficult for another person to understand that. And I think sometimes, depending on the person, it makes them feel as if like they're not a priority. When in reality it's just like, no, like you're definitely a priority. This right here though is making me a better human being.
Right.
It's making me look at things differently. I'm learning things. I'm challenging myself. It's filling my cup, which that cup overflows into our cup. And I think that's a difficult thing for people to really understand,
That's another great point, man. I think there's resentment that can be built and they're just being like, you're selfish, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you're not putting into us, you're putting into yourself. But you have to understand, if I'm not able to put into myself in this way, then I can't be the person you want me to be.
I can't, because what's going to happen, like you said, eventually you're going to feel resentment toward that individual, because like you're going to realize like, this is my life as well, and I truly think a supportive partner is a person that says, hey, like if this is important to them, like let me support them in this particular way, or at least give them the chance to partake in this passion and let's see where it goes. And most times you don't even see the possibilities of where it may go and how it could even benefit you,
right?
So it's tough, man. That's the aspect about like success that people don't talk about enough. You know what I mean? Like the climb, getting there, and the people that are involved in that directly and indirectly. So,
and having a supportive partner is a superpower. It is truly a superpower to have another person behind you that like believes in you as much as you do. That can help propel you and push you through those times when you're going through the shit.
Right.
You know?
Well, trust me, man. I get it. I get it. The support piece is huge, man. So the fact that your wife like definitely supports you in that space, man, something to be grateful for, bro.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I am tremendously grateful for her. Before we get too far ahead, and I want to wrap soon because I want to be respectful of your time coming up on an hour. Do you have, I got to ask this, do you have like a top 2, top 3 books that you don't have to get too far into it, but just curious if any like are so life-changing for you? Like, I gotta do
for
this.
Sure. 100%. So for me, I will always put Think and Grow Rich up there.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because like, it was just the introduction to that type of mindset in terms of like, you know, what you actually, your thought processes and the information that comes to you has a vast effect on how you operate in the world, you know, but everything starts from a thought process, you know, and so you have to think it through and follow through on those things. And then, you know, as you follow through on those things, everything you want and all the things you desire will come to you. I would say that the number 2 is a tie between quite a few books. I'm not going to lie. The Alchemist. Have you heard of The Alchemist?
Yeah, I love it.
Love that book, man.
One of my favorites for sure.
Listen, The Alchemist is just like,
you got to read it. If you
have to read it.
It's so simple, but it's so profound.
So profound. The Richest Man in Babylon. Have you read that one as well? Another one. So I will say those 2 books. Not a fan of novels, but those are personal development novels, though. So I will say those are some of the few novels that I've read. And then Mastery of Love. Have you, The 4 Agreements, have you read that?
I've read The 4 Agreements.
Okay, so the same author. Okay. So Mastery of Love, that same simple writing. And it's not so much about love in relationship sense. It's more about love of self and love of fellow man. And like, that really helped me understand like, you know, what unconditional love is, you know, like I'll touch on the topic. And this always sparks debate or controversy, but I really do feel like this is key. So I personally feel like the only true unconditional love that you will have for a person is like when you have a child. And I say that in a respectful way. Like I think we sometimes have been conditioned to say to our partners, I love you unconditionally. I get where it's coming from the romanticism side, but like loving someone unconditionally means that they can do anything to you and you are going to stay there and love them. I don't think you should be that way in a relationship. I think if you're with someone and that person starts to disrespect you in a way that's unbearable, I think you should start talking about some of the conditions in the relationship. You know what I mean? And so it's not to say that you can't love a person immensely. It's just that like usually when you have a kid, so I have a 4-year-old daughter, that kid can do anything she wants to me. And I'm going to like love on her no matter what. Like that's unconditional. Would that change as she becomes an adult? It could be depending on the severity of it. But going back to the book, you know, it highlights that, and it highlights saying that like unconditional love should be the goal, but conditional love is important. Like, you know, like you can't allow people just to treat you any kind of way. So you need conditions on the love that you give, because if you're giving out love, it should be with someone that you trust, someone that you say, hey, I'm giving this, not returning, not with the expectation of anything coming back, because like, I know it'll come back in different ways and stuff like that. So Mastery of Love, definitely read, like that's a key one. Yeah. So I would say those 4 with the strong tie at number 2 for 3. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I like that.
I think this pod is going to resonate with a lot of my listeners, man, because you're just so real. Again, it's just like easy to converse with you, but like you get so, and it's not like I'm trying to, but we just get deep on so many topics. I think you and I hit it off really well.
Absolutely.
For anybody watching who maybe isn't familiar with you and wants to get linked up and start following your content, where can they find you?
So I'm at Instagram at with Pat James. You can find me on Facebook as well, Pat James as well, and also YouTube, Pat James. Our company is Lab 243. And you mentioned earlier, we talked before I think we rolling. I don't know if we were rolling or not yet. I do have a podcast releasing.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
So the podcast is titled Leverage. And the reason why I titled it Leverage is because, like, you know, for me, I feel like the reason why I'm in this position now is because I leveraged, you know, the mindsets of people. You know, I leveraged the information. I leveraged, you know, how people conduct themselves in different ways. I think that's how we grow. We leverage the information and the people around us. And so I wanted to do that thing, you know, that same very thing, you know, meet with and talk to and converse with some of the most amazing people that I've met here in Charlotte, and really show, another side of these individuals here in Charlotte, no matter what the industry may be. So that is set to release on January 2nd. I got to get you on there. We got to set a date.
Absolutely.
Because we do click very well, man. I think that we can talk about a lot of certain topics and give people a different way of just thinking on it, and when you involve the health piece to it, it's just a plus, man. So like, I'm definitely looking forward to that, bro.
Yeah. I get a ton out of our conversation. So
Yeah,
thank you so
man.
much for coming on. I appreciate you.
Of course, man. Definitely. And this guy here, man, bro, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan, bro. I'm a huge fan. Keep doing your thing. I love the consistency of it. I love, like, based on the conversation we had at that coffee shop to now to where you're at, and you committing to what you said you were going to do, like, the coaching business is going to be easy, bro. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Trust me, man. You're going to be fine, cool, man. But thank you for letting me on, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Of course, man. My guy.
That's the pod.
Absolutely.